Hey guys, this is Lori with LM's Crafty Creations, and I am here to share the project that I made with June's Craftology box from countrycraftcreations.com. And I have made a little folio. The paper collection that was in June's Craftology box is this Rapsody collection by Photoplay. And it's really cute, great kind of girly themed paper with the butterflies and flowers and all kinds of wonderful things. And I do have a surprise for you guys. I did go ahead and put photos in this album. So you'll actually be able to see how it looks with photos. I've been inspired by the folio that's going around that Mel B created. And I love waterfall folios, but I don't like that I don't get to see a whole lot of the paper after I put my photos in. So I tried to create this to remedy that situation, and I also try to make a small project, and it turns out like this. So this measures 6 3/4 by 9 1/4. So not so small, but I think it turned out really cute. On the cover here, I used some of the doilies that came in the Craftology box. This is a cut apart from the collection. I matted it on blue cardstock, and I did use the navy cardstock from countrycraftcreations.com, the artisan cardstock, and I do think that it does look black in the video, but it is blue. Here I've just layered some of the design paper here. I made them into little flags. This little dream catcher was fussy cut from the collection, and then I just have the paper here. And then on the back, I just have, this was a cut apart from the collection, and then this is just a label die or punch that I cut out and just stuck there. So you could put the date or whatever you want there. So on the inside, it doesn't have any pages per se. On the right hand side, there is a large oversized waterfall, and on the left hand side, there is kind of just like some flips and flaps. And so I guess let's go ahead and go over this side first. So here I have a cut apart from the collection. This is a sticker from the collection, and then I don't know if you can really see it. Let me bring this up closer. But I have these cool little rhinestone swirls came in our Craftology box, and I've put them right here. You can't really see them all that great on camera. This is another label die that I'm using as a pull because I have a really strong magnet right here. And so this lifts open, and then I have a picture of my daughter here. So I've matted this flap and then put another photo mat on there. I left this blank, and then again a picture of my husband and my daughter, and then a picture of my daughter right there. So this just closes and it magnetizes. And then there's a swing tab here that holds this giant flap down. And inside the flap there's a pocket, and it holds this booklet. And it's a decent sized booklet. I've got a cut apart on the front here, and you open it up, and I've got two pictures of my daughter. This is when she was younger, standing in the corner, and so we took a couple of pictures of her. So this is both on the same day. I thought they were really cute. And I've used some washi here, and then here you could put two small photos, but I just chose to do some of the decorative paper, and then you could journal on these if you wanted to. And then I did a little journaling tag here, and then there's the back. And this just fits inside this pocket here. So this entire flap flips up, and there is a large flap here, and this is a 4x6 photograph. And then up here, or on the base page, I guess, I've used some washi down here again, and here is, these are the cards that came in the Craftology box. I know some people choose to make cards, and I like to just use them in my albums. So what I've done with this card is I've cut it down to, I don't know whatever size this was, but I cut it down to 4 1/4 this way. So you can put like 4 1/4 by 5 photographs in here, I think, and I don't have anything in there right now. And again, I've used two cut aparts here, and then just some of that bling. It's really cute. So I just have a 4x4 photo mat there. This is again another one of the cards, and I just chopped it off at 4 1/4. I've layered some paper and then a cut apart, and then some of the cute ribbon that came in the Craftology box, and then I just have two photos on the inside. And these are full 4x6 photos. And then it's blank on the back. This one I didn't put anything in, but again I chopped it off at 4 1/4, put the cut apart on there, and then I have more room for photos. And then I did some oversized photo mats. This one's got just a silly photo of her on it with a little strip of paper. And then I did paper on the back, and you could still put your photo there, and then like a little journaling spot. And then here I just did paper and room for photo. So that is it. Let me just stick this stuff back in here real quick because you know how I am. I don't like to leave it out. So this just closes up tidy with a swing tab. And so this is my favorite part. This is the whole reason why I created this album. So here, my little bling is coming up right there. Maybe I need to use some glue on that. Again, I have the bling right here, a cut apart from the collection right there, mounted on some cardstock, and then this is a sticker from the collection. Here for my closure, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do a flap all the way up here. I didn't want to do any magnets. So this ties, the seam binding ties into a bow. This is just a brad, and it just winds around, and it comes down here. So when you close it, you wind this one around this way, and then the other one around this way, and then you tie it in a bow. And I thought that was so cute. I've seen other people do it. It wasn't my first idea, unfortunately. So here, these are oversized waterfall flaps so that you can use, and they're actually each booklets. So there are 6 booklets put together into a waterfall flap. So this first flap flips up, and you have a photo, a little space for your design paper, and then a little sticker. And I had done this same kind of flap in one of my albums that I just released, and it's now my favorite kind of photo flap because I really love to see this paper. So there's the first photo, and then I have a landscape one here. This one is a sticker from the collection, and then again that one says beautiful. This is my mom and my daughter, and just layered some stickers here. In the middle here, I put just some washi tape that I had in my collection, just to fill in that gap. So here I've layered a couple stickers right there. And then that's my mother and my daughter again. And then another sticker layered right there. I'm sorry I can't get all this in frame at once. I have to keep moving it. So a picture there, that's me and my daughter, and then just a sticker from the collection, and then that's my dad. Unfortunately his head was chopped off, and my daughter walking when she was a lot younger, and just a strip of the paper, or this was a cutout from the paper that I glued right there. And then here my husband and my daughter, and then just some stickers mounted on cardstock. Again, another sticker, and then a sticker there. And this was actually a random picture of my niece and my dog asleep together. I thought that was hilarious. And then there's just 2 stickers layered here. Oops. And then a sticker right here, and then my daughter again. And there's another picture of her. Her favorite thing ever is stuffed animals, so we always take pictures of her holding all of her animals. And this is a picture of her when she was younger because I was missing some landscape portraits, so I had to kind of go back into my stash. And just some more bling and a sticker there. And then another photo and a sticker. And then that's me and her again. We like to take selfies together. A sticker from the collection. Another sticker. This one, I actually should have put this paper right here up on here because this is the booklet part, so I messed up on that. So instead I just ended up cutting this photo a little smaller, so we just make it work, right? So right here, another photo with her and her Kindle, and then another 2 stickers layered together, and then her playing outside with her bubbles, and there's her and her daddy again, and there's her and some stickers from the collection. And last photo is just her, and then this is a cut apart from the collection that I just layered right there. on the back of the waterfall, this is a sticker that I layered on cardstock, and then on the inside of the pocket, I just have a cut apart here and then a smaller photo, another cut apart with a sticker layered on it, but there's no photo on that one, and then just another smaller, like 4x5 photo, I believe is what this one is. And then I don't have anything on the back. And that's it. So I really like how this turned out. I thought it was so cute, and it really holds a lot of photos. Like this alone here holds about 23 photos, and if you want to put a photo right here, it'll hold 24, but I like to leave the front flap just purely decorative, just so you can enjoy that paper. So we're going to close this up and let's get started on this tutorial. So what you're going to need, let's see, I already have, let's do the waterfall part first, and I cut everything out for it. Just a moment while I get myself together and find what I did with it. Here's the base of the album that I've already started. Here we go. And here is the rest of it. Okay, so what we're going to start with is the waterfall. So what I did is I have a large rotary trimmer. So I cut, you're going to need 12 of these flaps cut at 6 1/4 by 6 3/4. Where did I put my notes? Here we go. So you're going to need 12 of these flaps, and you're going to score on the 6 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. This is going to be your waterfall booklets. So in it, you can only cut one out per one sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock. So this is a paper intensive album, okay? A cardstock intensive album. You only need one pack of pattern paper. So this album actually, you just takes one pack. I always buy two, but it just takes one. And then you're going to need your piece that you're going to glue all of your waterfall pieces onto, cut at 6 1/4 and leave it at 12 inches. And I'll show you why in a little bit. So let's get started. It's just like a standard waterfall folio. We're going to add all the flaps down first, and then we'll go back and add all of the flaps for the booklets. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to take my first flap. I'm going to fold on the score line and burnish. I'm going to grab my glue and I'm going to add it here. Whoops. And I'm just going to add this flap at the very top and line it up. This is why I do cut this piece of paper, solely so I can line up my waterfall. It should line up at the top, and it should line up on each side with nothing hanging over. Now if I don't do this, my waterfall is crooked every time. Okay? So I'm just going to turn mine this way because it's easier for me. And then you're going to open that flap. I'm going to kind of burnish it again, and then I'm going to add my next flap. So I apologize that this is done in black because I know it's hard to see. So I'm going to go ahead and fold on my score line and burnish, and then I'm going to add my next flap right under where this one ends, okay? If you're familiar with waterfalls, this won't be an issue, but if you're new, then you may not know how these work. I'm just going to line it up and press it down and flip it up. Now we're going to do 6 of these, so don't let me go past 6. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the rest of them we're going to do the booklets for. So again, folding on my score line, burnishing, and I'm just going to add the flap. This is super easy. So we're just going to keep going and adding the flap right underneath where the previous one ends. You are going to be so sick of these flaps because I'm doing another project with them as well. But they just turned out so cute. And it really is perfect for photos. So you can focus on the paper and the photos. Because I hate it when I put my photo down in an album and it covers up all the beautiful paper and I can't see any of it. Okay, flipping that one up, and I'm going to add my last one here. And then I'll show you what we'll do with the rest of this flap here. And each time, I'm making sure it lines up on both sides. Okay, now I'm going to take all these and fold them down. I'm just going to kind of burnish them a bit. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to score where the last flap ends. So, let me show you what I'm doing. Let's see, which way can I turn my scoreboard? So see, my last flap ends right here. Can you see that? Right there. So I'm going to score at about 3 1/8, right up against that flap. Or even move your paper if you need to and make sure you just score it right up against it. Okay? And this is going to create our pocket that's on the inside. So now I have my score line here, and I'm just going to fold. And all I'm going to do to create my pocket is add a strip of glue here and a strip of glue here. And that's it. Oh, excuse me, I was trying not to sneeze. Okay. Flatten that glue out. Make sure it stays. And that's all. It's not a large pocket, it's just a small one. And if you didn't want that, you could just cut it off right there and just have another place to put just one photo. But sometimes I like pockets. Just makes it more interactive. Okay, now we have our single sheet folio, okay? So now you're going to take your other 6 flaps and you're going to apply these directly on top of the flaps you just put on. Okay, that's going to make your booklets. So again, score and burnish. And add your glue. You know what? Hold on just a second, guys. Okay, good. I thought my autofocus was on. Whew. Okay, and then you're just going to add this flap directly on top. And just make sure you're lining it up exactly with the flap that's already put down, okay? That's all. Open it up and burnish. So now we have a flap and then a flap and then the next waterfall page, okay? And so let me show you, since this is all black, I wish I would have done this one in craft. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my glue on and then I'm going to add this flap just right here. And maybe even just slightly below the crease. Can you see? That's where I'm going to add it. So you still have this gap here and you just add the flap directly on top of where you put the previous one. Now you could always put these booklets together beforehand, you know, and then add them all to the waterfall. But I thought it was easier to do it this way. Okay. You want to make sure that when this, so you have added a flap here, that when this goes up, just burnish and it'll stay flat. Am I making sense? Now my nose is running because I tried not to sneeze. Sorry about that. Just adding my glue and sticking it down right on top of that previous flap. I'm just going to burnish it. So lift that flap up, burnish it again. And let's add the next one. I'm just leaving a teeny tiny space at the top when I put my second flap down. I mean, it's not even measurable, like honestly. It's just so tiny. Just to give this flap enough room to move. I have 2 more to go, and then we're done with the waterfall. And I will show you, or at least explain to you, how I did my closure. Last one. Okay, that's it. It does get quite thick, especially after you add your photos, but that's okay. There's plenty of room in the folio for it. So you have a booklet, so 2 pieces here, and they should look like there's only 1, but when you flip it, there's 2, and it just continues on. And then you'll have your pocket at the bottom. Okay, that's it for the waterfall folio. Super easy, or at least for that side. So what I did to add the closure is I took my score tape. So this is the bottom of the waterfall, and I just added the tape here. And I'll do this one in the same way. And that's really not even at all, is it? I would have gotten it more even, so let's fix that. I'm going to go ahead and put another strip on the side, so that way I can get it even when I decide to put my ribbon down. So what I would do, you take your seam binding or your ribbon or whatever, and you peel off your score tape and place your ribbon down and burnish it really well. Make sure you have enough in length so that when you flip it over, it will come up and meet the closure you're going to have here, the brad. So I would put glue all over the back of this, and then add your waterfall to the right hand side of your folio, okay? And then you pick out a decorative brad and put it anywhere you want to. So you can put it higher up if you want. I like to do a little decorating here, so I put it kind of low. So I just inserted my brad into the paper, So I put my pattern paper and decorate this on first, and then I put the brad in. And then, you're going to have the prongs of the brad on this side of the flap. So maybe even put the strip to do a landscape photo right here so it covers that up. Okay, does that make sense? So your strips, just folio. The strips for the inside of this, these are 6 inches by 1 7/8. So it's the same for all of them. So you could go ahead and just cut all of your strips all at one time if you wanted to. So what I'm saying here is I put, see this green cardstock? I put that down to cover up my brad right here where it was going to show. I didn't realize I was going to put photos all in this album when I did that. And so I wanted to be able to show it to you guys without the brad showing. So, and then I just cut my photo a little smaller because I went ahead and decided I did want to fill this album with photos. So hopefully that's making sense. So it's super easy. And I have these larger brads, which I do like for this. You do need one that's kind of a little bit larger. Okay, so that's all I've got for that side. I'm not going to glue mine down because, of course, I don't know what style I'm going to decorate this in. I'm thinking I might do kind of like a zoo theme or aquarium because I have a lot of photos for that. So you'll add your seam binding or your ribbon down here, decorate this top flap, and add your brad, and then you can, of course, glue this whole thing down right here. So you'll notice that when I was covering my chipboard, I didn't cover this part. I didn't even worry about it because it's going to cover. Okay? So, now that we have that done, I will go ahead and give you the chipboard pieces. You're going to need to cut 2 at 9 1/4 by 6 3/4, and then the spine is 9 1/4 by 1 1/2. Okay? So not a super huge spine, but this waterfall gets pretty chunky, so you want enough. Mine completely full does lay flat, so you can see that's completely full right there. So there's just a tiny space left, but it really, I think it's just enough. And I still have some room to put photos in there. All right, let's talk about the left front cover. What am I going to do? I'm going to do the stacked pockets first. So for the stacked pockets, you're going to want to cut one piece at 3 inches by 7 1/2. You're going to score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch and on the 7 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And let's go ahead and miter our corners. If you don't know what that means you're going to cut right across here where these score lines meet on each side. And this is just to reduce some of the bulk in your album. So I'm going to fold on my score lines and burnish. And then I'm going to give it a quick test fit. And I'm going to go ahead and add my glue and stick it down. And I'm going to keep it just a tiny bit away from the left edge. Kind of center it on the chipboard. I didn't put it all the way over here. I just left equal amounts of space on each side. And then the next stacked pocket, you're going to want to cut this at 3 1/2 by 7 1/2. Score on the 3 1/2 inch side at 1 inch, and then on the 7 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Now to miter this one, you're going to miter right here, cut this at an angle right here up to that score mark, and then you're going to do the same right here on this side. Okay, so here we're going to do it again. We're going to cut up to that score mark, and then we're going to do it again right there. And that's it. So you don't fold on the 1-inch score line, you just fold on the 1/2-inch score lines. So this piece is going to tuck into this pocket all the way up to that score line that you made and make your stacked pocket. Okay? Okay, that's it. Okay, now we're going to do the large flap that goes up here. So to do that, I'm going to put this aside for a second, and I'm going to grab those pieces, which are right here. So I've cut this one to 5 3/4 by 9 inches. You're going to score on the 9-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then just go ahead and fold on your score line and burnish. But we're not going to add it to the book just yet. We're going to add the pocket on the top of it. So you're kind of making a base page here. So I'm going to miter my corners. Now this piece is cut to 6 1/4 by 9 1/2. You're going to score on the 9 1/2-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then on the 6 1/4-inch side at 1/2 inch. And then just fold on your score lines and burnish. And we're just going to add this just like you add a pocket. And this looks too big, so I think my measurement right there is wrong. Just a second, let me double check it. No? That's right. Never mind. Okay. So you're going to add this directly on top of this flap, and your hinge is going to be on the back, okay? Okay, I'm just going to add this directly on top, and I'm just going to line it up all the way around. I'm just going to burnish it down some. Okay, and this is what we have. Let's go ahead and add the smaller flaps onto this. So you're going to need 2 flaps cut at 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. You're going to score on one of these 6 1/4-inch sides at 1/2 inch. Fold on your score lines for both of these and burnish. And what you're going to do is you're going to, so see your hinges on each side? You're going to add these together to where they overlap right to the hinges. So we're just going to stack them on top of each other just like this, and make sure that they're lined up with one another. And then they will fit directly on top of here, kind of centered top to bottom. So I'm going to add my glue to both of these. Okay. Keep them together and lined up. And then I'm going to stick them down here, lining them up as best as I can on both sides. Okay, and then burnish. And then open them up, and you can burnish them down just a little bit more. So that one is wanting to come up. Just make sure they still close properly, which they do, so we're good. Okay, so now this flap is done, so let's go ahead and add it, and then all we have to do is create the booklet that goes inside of it, and then we're done with the folio. So we have our waterfall here, we have our 2 stacked pockets, and then you're going to center this pocket, which I didn't do a very good job of in my folio. Mine's kind of off to the side. You're going to want to center this right here, okay, and glue it to the top. So I'm going to add my glue here and try to do a better job of getting this center. It's probably as good as it's going to get for me. So I'm just going to kind of lift this up and burnish a little bit more, and I think we're done. So you could do magnets here and a magnet here as well, and instead of a swing tab, but I just liked the swing tab. So for the booklet that goes inside of this pocket right here, I don't want to pull on it too much because I want to give it some time to dry. I've already cut one piece. I think I need to cut one more piece. Let's see. Whoops, there goes my ruler. This piece is 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. So I need one more piece cut to 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. And there's no scoring on this one. Now on the 5 3/4 by 8 1/4 inch flap, you're going to score at 1/2 inch on the 5 3/4 inch side, and fold on your score line and burnish. And you're just going to add this flap directly to this book, and that's it. Your booklet is made. Okay, I cut it a little bit shorter on purpose just because I like the way that it looks, where you can see the photo and the peeking out from this side. But you can of course cut it to where it's the same. And this goes right in the pocket of this. Watch, this one won't fit. My other one fit perfectly. What did I do? There it goes. My goodness. That one's too tight. Seemed like the other one just went right in there, right? Maybe that's a little... Let me see. What did I do? Let me make sure. This flap looks too long. So it is 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, but this flap is cut this at 5 3/4 by 8 1/4 as well. So I just need to trim a bit off this. So it's not 6 1/4, it's 5 3/4. Okay. So let's fix my measurements here. Okay, sorry about that. Both of the flaps are cut to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. I just cut too much off this one. So that's right. But it doesn't matter. So 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. Jeez. What's wrong with me? I don't know. Sorry. So there is that booklet. Now that we finally have the measurements right. But of course you already knew what the measurements were because they are correct down below. Let me see if I can get this in here now. Nice. Okay. Perfect. Yay, we did it. There's a little tweaks along the way, but we got it done. And I think it's a really cute folio. I hope you guys like it. I hope you make it. And thanks for watching.